Hello everybody and welcome to the next video in this tutorial series where we'll be continuing from where we left off and writing the rest of the front end. Now in the previous video we handled creating a challenge. In this video we're going to be handling listing the challenges and then obviously accepting them and revealing our answer. So let's get started by creating a new component that will show us all of the current challenges that are active. Once we're viewing the different challenges, then we can start interacting with them by accepting them, revealing the answer, seeing who won, etc. So I'm going to go to my source directory and I'm going to make a component and I'll just call this list challenges.js. Now inside of here, let's start by saying import React, use state and use effect from React like that. We're also going to import some components. So we'll say import a button and a heading from our @this/React. I am then going to go here and create the component. So we'll say function list challenges. Like before, we want to take in our signer. We need the signer so we can send transactions and we can get the address of our account. And I'm going to set a bunch of state. Now the idea here is that I'm going to call my backend and I'm going to use an inspect request to get all of the challenges. Once I have them on the front end, I'm going to sort those challenges. So I'm going to get all of the challenges that I created, that I'm currently a part of, that I was in before, and then the ones that were submitted by other people. That way we can have these curated lists of challenges and we can kind of organize them into a few different categories. So I'm going to start by saying const current challenges and then set current challenges is equal to use state, and we'll start by making this a list. I'm then going to say const my challenge set my challenge is equal to use state, and for now this will be undefined. Now current challenges will be kind of the active challenges, the ones where someone needs to accept the challenge, or where there's no winner yet in the challenge. Okay, my challenge will be any challenge I'm currently a part of, so the one that I created or the one I'm an opponent in. We're then going to say const my old challenges and then set my old challenges is equal to use state, and this will be a list. Now this will be a history of all of the challenges that are finished that have a winner that I participated in the past. We're then going to say const old challenges like this, and then set old challenges is equal to use state, and same thing here. This will be a list, and then we need a few last things. We're going to say const loading set loading is equal to use state, and that will be false. We then are going to say const address, this will be our address, and then set address is equal to use state, and this will just be an empty string to start. Okay, I know that's quite a bit of code already, but that is the state that we need. Now that we have that, we're going to set up a use effect hook, and as soon as this component is mounted, what we are going to do is we are going to get the address from our signer. So we're going to put in the dependency array here signer, which means anytime the signer changes, we'll refresh this. And we're going to say signer dot get address. Now the reason I'm doing a question mark is because it's possible that we don't have a signer, so I want to make sure we don't have an error. So I put a question mark here. I'm going to say .get address and then .then, and I'm going to say addr standing for address, and then set addr or set address, sorry, and this is addr dot to lowercase, just to make sure that we don't get any errors with the capitalization. Okay, so that is our first use effect. Now we're going to write a few functions. We're going to say async function and then get challenges. Okay, now inside of the challenges, we'll say set loading is equal to true, and then we'll just put a set loading equal to false here, and this is where we'll do all of the code. So get challenges, we'll write that in a minute. I just want to kind of hook everything up first, and then we can write the individual functions. I find it's easier to do it that way. So we have get challenges. Now what I'm going to do is write another use effect, and inside of this use effect, I am going to say if the address changes, then we want to get challenges. Now what I'm pretty much saying here is, okay, as soon as we set the address and the address is modified, we're just going to call the getChallenges function. So we reload those challenges and kind of resort them into their respective lists. Because if the address changes, that means we have a new player that we're looking at. So their challenge or their previous challenges are going to be different. So we want to refresh all of those challenges, okay? This is not really the most efficient way to go about doing things, but for now, this is perfectly fine. Okay, so now that we have that, we will just write a little bit of the, what do you call it, kind of UI, and then we can write the getChallenges function. So let's say let button props equal to an empty object, and we'll say if loading, then button props dot loading is equal to true. So pretty much the same thing we had before. And we're also going to say if not address, then we're simply going to return just an empty JSX component, because if we don't have an address, then we're not going to have any challenges to display. So we can just display nothing. Now, other than that, we are going to start returning our JSX code or our HTML. So we're going to say return div. We can give this a class name. So we can say class name is equal to, and I'll just put center because I want this to be in the center of the screen. We'll write that in a second. And for now, we'll set up a few headings, and then we'll set up some more components, and we'll kind of go through that. But I'm going to say heading. I'm going to say size is equal to large, and the first heading will be the active challenges, okay? Then we'll go here, and we're going to have another heading. This is going to be old challenges. And then this is going to be my history. And were there any other ones we need? We have my history, old challenges, and then active challenges. That's actually fine for now. We're going to write some more logic in a minute. Now we'll also put a button down here. And inside of this button, we'll say ... button props. So we'll kind of mark it as loading if we need to be. We'll say on click is equal to get challenges. The text in here will say update challenges. So we can manually update the challenges by pressing this button. And then we can say type is equal to submit. Or actually, I don't think we need the type. I think it's actually fine if we leave that out. And then we'll say the color scheme is equal to blue, and just make that a blue button. Now let's format our code. Okay, perfect. And let's start writing the getChallenges function. Now remember that with getChallenges, we're actually going to use an inspect request. So this means that we're not going to be sending an input. We're just going to be inspecting the state of the Cartesi machine. So to do that, we're going to go to util, and we're going to write a new function here that allows us to send an inspect request. So what we'll do here is we'll say export const inspect, and this will be equal to an async function. This is going to take in some payload, which is the inspect data, so the method essentially that we're going to be calling. Now what we're going to do is create a response variable. So we're going to say const response is equal to await, and we can just use a very simple fetch. So just a normal kind of HTTP GET request that will send to our server. So if we go look at util, or not util, sorry, constants, notice we have the default URL, which is where the inspect endpoint exists. So all we actually need to do is use this, and then we need to append the payload here that we want to send. And when we send that to our backend, it's just a normal HTTP request, and it will return the data for us. So if we go back to util here, I've put in some backticks, and I'm going to embed my variables. So I'm going to say the default URL from constants, make sure you import that. And then we're going to say that this is going to be json.stringify, and we are going to stringify the payload, and that's all we need to do. So we're just sending a simple fetch get request. So now we're going to say if the response.status is equal to 200, which means it was successful, and we'll just do 3 equal signs so we don't get yelled at by JavaScript. Then we'll say the result is equal to await the response.json. And then we will return the result.reports. Now, what we're able to do is access this reports object. This will contain any of the reports that were generated when we sent this inspect request. Could be one report, could be multiple reports, etc. In our case, it will just be one. And that report will contain all of the different challenges. So then we'll be able to access those challenges and utilize them how we see fit. Now, otherwise, we'll just say console.log, and we'll say json.stringify, and we'll say await response.text like that, because if it was not a status of 200, then we got some kind of error message. So we'll get the text from the response and we'll just display that here. Okay, that's all we need for inspect. That should be that function. So let's go back to list challenges, and we can now utilize that function to actually get all of the challenges. So we'll go inside of here, and we will start by saying let results. We can then say results are equal to await, and we can call the inspect function from our util file. And what we need to pass is our JSON. So we're going to say the method is equal to get challenges, because that's what the inspect request is that we want. We'll then say that the results are equal to JSON.parse. And what I need to actually do is I need to convert what's going to be a hexadecimal value into a string. So what's going to happen if we go to util here is we are going to get the JSON, and inside of the JSON here, what we're actually going to have is a list of reports, right? So we access those list of reports. Now, all of those reports are going to be hexadecimal because we have to only send and receive hexadecimal data. So what I need to do is actually convert that hexadecimal data to a string. So what I'm going to do is use a utility function here called hex to string that will do the conversion for me. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to make another function. I'm going to say export const hex to string. This is going to take in some hex data, and it's just going to return a string. So we're going to say try, and this is going to be ethers.utils.to, and then UTF-8 bytes like that. This is how we convert the hexadecimal value to a string. So we'll just pass hex, and we will simply return that. We'll then say catch e, so we'll catch some exception, and we will just return whatever the hexadecimal value was. Now I'll just put an underscore here so it doesn't get marked as an unused variable. Okay, so we have our hex to string. Now we'll go back here and we will utilize that function. So inside of here, we are going to say JSON.parse, and then this is going to be hex to string, and it's going to be results 0.payload, and then we're going to take the JSON and we're going to access the challenges. Now, what are we doing here? Well, we're going to have a list of reports. That's what's returned here. Those reports, well, there could be multiple, but in our case, there's just going to be one. So what we do is we access the first report, and then we get the payload associated with that report, which is the data that contains all of our reports. We then convert this hexadecimal value into a string. We parse it as JSON, and we access the challenges key. Now, to refresh you, if we go back in to main.py, and we have a look at get challenges, notice that what we're returning is an object that has the key challenges. So this is going to access the list of challenges for us. That's what we're doing, okay? So that's what we're getting here with our results. Now that we have that, we need to take all these results and we need to sort them into their appropriate categories. So we're going to say const current challenges is equal to an empty list. We're going to say let my challenge equal to undefined. We're going to say const old challenges is equal to an empty list. We're going to say const my old challenges is equal to an empty list as well. Now we're going to iterate through all of our challenges. So we're going to say const, if we can type that correctly, and this will be challenge of results, and this needs to be a for loop. Okay, that will fix it for us. So const challenge of results, and what we need to do is sort these challenges. So we need to figure out, first of all, is the current user, so the person signed in, whatever their address or account is, are they a part of this challenge? So the way we can do that, so we can say const user participated, okay, if we spell that correctly, is equal to, and this will be the challenge dot opponent is equal to the address, or the challenge dot creator is equal to the address. Remember, address is the address of the person signed in. On our challenge, we have an opponent and we have a creator. If they are either the creator or the opponent, so our current address, then they participate in this challenge. Let me just format that code. Okay, now what we'll say is if the challenge dot winner and the user participated, what that means is that the challenge is finished, so it's no longer active because there's a winner. So as soon as we have a winner, we know the challenge is done. And if our user participated in that, that means that this is part of their history. So we're going to say my old challenges dot push, and we'll simply push the challenge inside of there. Now we'll have an else if, and we'll say else if the user participated. So if there was no winner, but the user participated, that means this is currently an active challenge. So we're going to say my challenge is equal to user participated, because the user can only be in one challenge at a time. So if the challenge is not yet finished and they're a part of it, that means this is the challenge they're currently active in. We're going to have another else if, and we're going to say else if challenge.winner. So what this is really checking now is if there was a winner and the user did not participate, because if there was a winner and the user did participate, it would have already been caught. Then what we can do is say old challenges dot push, and then this will be the challenge. And then lastly, if there was no winner and the user was not a part of it, that means that this is an active challenge that the user could potentially join. So we're going to say current challenges dot push, and then challenge like so. Okay, so now that we've done that inside of the for loop, we need to set all of our state. So we're going to say set current challenges and then current challenges. We're going to say set my challenge, and this will be my challenge. We're going to say set old challenges, and we'll set this to old challenges. And lastly, we'll say set my old challenges. So let's fix that. And this will be my old challenges. Okay, and then we'll set loading to false. And that is the get challenges function. Okay, so we've now written the get challenges function. We have pretty much everything done for this component. What we need to do now, though, is we need to start actually viewing our different challenges. Now, to be able to view these, we need to have a list of challenges, and we need to display those. Now, to display those, I'm going to make another component because there's quite a bit of data we want to display for any given challenge. So I'm going to make a new component here inside of source. I'm going to call this challenges.js. Now, this will take a list of challenges, and it will display it for us. So let's start writing this. We're going to say import React use state from React. We're going to say import, and this will be button use toast heading and select from, and this will be the Charka UI React. We then are going to import a few other things we need. We're going to say import generate commitment. So we have that here, as well as the send input, because we'll need this when we want to accept a challenge or reveal a challenge. We then will say import, and we're going to import the move key as well as the nonce key from local storage, because when we end up revealing our answer, we're going to do that from this component. So now we're going to have a function, which is our component. We'll call this challenges, and this will take in the following: a list of challenges, the address of the current user, the signer, and it will have show accept, which is equal to false. Now, show accept is going to tell us if we should show the accepting of the challenge or not. So show the button that says accept challenge. Essentially means this challenge is active, but we've not yet, accepted it, or we're not a part of it. Now up here, we have a few basic things we need. We're going to say const toast is equal to use toast. Again, we're going to use this when we end up sending an input, so that's why we need that. We're going to have const choice, which is a state variable, and then set choice is equal to use state, and for now we'll set that equal to 1. And the reason why we have this is because we're going to need to have the user be able to select what choice they want if they accept a challenge. So this component here is what's going to handle displaying a list of challenges, and then also displaying if we should accept a challenge or if we should reveal our answer. So we'll write those functions in a minute, but for now we just want to display the challenges. So we're going to say return a div, and we're going to say the class name is equal to, and this can be challenges. Now we'll style this all later, but for now we want to map out the challenges. So inside of here, we're going to take our challenges and we're going to map them. And we're going to say challenge like this. And what we're going to do is actually set up a few variables that we're going to use when we kind of return information about our challenge. So what we want to do with every single challenge is we want to understand if we're a part of this challenge, and we want to know if we're the opponent of this challenge or if we're the person who created it. So what we're going to do is have a variable, and we're going to say let data is equal to an object. And we're going to say the opponent underscore move is equal to an empty string. We're going to say your move is equal to an empty string, and then we'll say the opponent is equal to an empty string. Now I'm just going to fix this so that it's not snake case, because I thought I was typing in Python there. And then what we can do is the following. So what we're going to figure out now is, okay, are we a part of this challenge? And are we the opponent or are we the creator? The reason why I've set up these variables here is because I want to know who I'm playing against. So I'm going to say the opponent, whoever I'm playing against, not necessarily the opponent associated with the challenge, but if I was the opponent of the challenge, then who we'd put here is the creator of the challenge. I'm not sure if that's making sense, but if we look at main.py, for example, every challenge has a creator and an opponent. Now, if we are the opponent, technically, our opponent in this challenge is the creator of the challenge. I know it's a bit confusing how I set it up. If I did like player 1, player 2, that might have been a bit easier to understand, but that's why I'm going to use this data, and you'll see how it works. So I'm going to say if the challenge dot creator is equal to the address. So that means if the creator of the challenge is us, then what we're going to do is say data is equal to the following. We're going to say the opponent move is equal to the challenge dot the opponent underscore move. We're going to say your move is equal to the challenge dot the creator move, because we're the creator, so our move is whatever the creator's move is. And then we're going to say the opponent is equal to the challenge dot opponent. Now, otherwise, we're simply going to do the opposite. We're going to say data is equal to, and we're going to say the opponent move is equal to the challenge dot the creator move. We're going to say your move, so let's type this correctly, is equal to the challenge dot the opponent move. And we need to put this with an underscore because that's how it's returned from our backend. And we are going to say that the opponent is equal to the challenge dot creator. Okay, so now we've mapped out who the opponent is and who the creator of the challenge is. So now that we have that, we'll go down here and we'll start returning some information about the challenge. So we got to do this inside of our curly brace and inside of the map. So we're going to say return div, and this is one individual challenge that we're returning. So I'm going to say class name is equal to a challenge. Let's close off our div. Let me just format this code a little bit so it's a bit easier to read. Let's go inside of the div and return our information. So first we're going to set up a heading. Now inside of the heading, we're going to say this is challenge number, and then the challenge dot challenge underscore ID. Again, if we want the data being returned, we can have a look here. We have the challenge ID. So we're going to put the challenge ID so we know what number this challenge is. We're then going to say the following. Data.opponent, and so let's go and here. We're going to put a paragraph tag, and inside of the paragraph tag, we're going to have a strong tag, and we're going to say the opponent colon and then data.opponent. Now, the reason why I'm doing this, I'm saying, okay, if there is an opponent of the challenge, then we'll display who that opponent is. If there's not an opponent, because it's possible that we don't have one and it's just the creator, so this challenge maybe just was made, we don't want to display that. Now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to say challenge dot, and this will be winner. And we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So we're going to have a p tag, a strong tag. We're going to say winner, and then this will be colon, and then we will say the challenge dot winner. However, if we are the winner, we don't want to just display our address because we might not know our address offhand. What we want to do instead is we want to display you, right? We want to say you were the winner. We don't want to just display the address of this user or the address of the opponent. We want to say the opponent was the winner or you were the winner. So we know if we won or lost. So what we're going to do is write a function here. And this function is going to pretty much tell us if we are the address or not. So we're going to say const is address user. Okay, and we're going to take in some address. And we're going to say if the ADDR is equal to the address, then we're going to return a strong tag. And the style of this tag is going to be color green. And we're going to say you. Now, otherwise, we'll copy this. We'll put this here. And we'll just return red. And this will say opponent. Okay, so let's save and format. So what I'm doing is I'm having this function that takes in an address and it tells me if the address is equal to myself. So if it is, I just return this code that says you in green. Otherwise, I say opponent in red. So now what I can do is rather than displaying the challenge.winner, I can wrap this in is address user, and it will either say you or it will say opponent. So that's what I'm going to display here. Now, after we have the winner, we want to show the different moves, and we also want to show the buttons to either reveal or to accept the challenge. So we're going to say data.opponent move does not equal undefined. And so let's have end here. We're going to display a paragraph tag. Again, we're going to have strong. We're going to say opponent move, colon, and then we want to display what their move is. So we're going to say data.opponent move. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing here for our move. So we're going to say data.yourmove, and then we're going to say your move, and we're going to fix this to say your move. Now, similarly to the function we have here, I'm going to write a function that will take the move and convert this move into the string representation. So if we go to main.py, when we return the move is going to be an integer, and this integer is 0 through 3, right? So 0 is none, 1 is rock, 2 is paper, 3 is scissors. So what I want to do is take that number, and I want to convert that into what the actual move is. So I'm going to make a function. I'm going to say const, and this is going to say move to string, and we're going to take in the move, and we're going to return the string representation. So we're going to return an object. Inside the object, we're going to have 0, and this is going to map to hidden. Now, if the move is 0, that either means the player has not made the move yet, or the move is currently hidden. So we're going to say 0 is hidden. We're going to say 1 is rock. We're going to say 2 is paper, and 3 is scissors. We're then going to index at move and simply return that. So again, just kind of doing a very simple mapping here for the move to string. And now we're going to wrap this. So move to string for data.opponent. We can copy this function, paste it here, and wrap this. So now again, it will display whether it's hidden or if it's rock, paper, or scissors. Okay, I know we did a lot of stuff here. For now, I think this will actually display our different challenges. So what we need to make sure we do now is export this. So we're going to say export default challenge. And actually, did we call this challenge or challenges? We call it challenges, so let's do challenges. And later in here, we're going to write the different buttons associated with the challenge. So again, like accepting the challenge, revealing the move, etc. So let's go to list challenges. And what we want to do now is use that component we just wrote. So first of all, let's export this one as well. Let's say export default list challenges. And now we're going to import the component we just made. So we're going to say import, and this will be challenges from .challenges, and we're going to start displaying them under the correct heading. So first of all, we'll go here to where it says active challenges, and we'll check if we have a challenge. So if we're currently in a challenge, so my challenge, right? If we have an active challenge, that's the one that we want to display. So we're going to say my challenge, we're going to say challenges, and then what we need to pass is all of our properties. So we're going to say challenges is equal to, or we're going to pass a list that contains my challenge. We're then going to say the address is equal to the address, and the signer is equal to the signer. Okay, now we're going to say otherwise. So if we don't have our current challenge, so if we're not in a challenge, we're going to display any of the other challenges that are active that we could accept. So we're going to say challenges. Same thing, we'll copy these. So paste those in, and this time for challenges, this will be equal to the current challenges. These are ones that we could accept, and we're going to pass another prop that says show accept equal to true. Let's format that so you're able to read it, and here we go. So we're saying, okay, if we have a challenge that we're currently a part of, display that. Otherwise, display any of the challenges that are currently active that we could join. Great, so that handles that. Now we'll go handle old challenges and my history. So we're going to do this. We're going to say old challenges dot length is greater than 0. If that's the case, then we want to display the following. So we're just going to do an empty component here. And inside, we're going to put a heading. Let's format that. And then below this, we're going to put challenges. So we'll just copy this. Okay, we're going to get rid of show except. And for the challenges we want to display, it's not going to be current challenges. It's going to be old challenges. Let's format that. Let's copy this exact same thing. Let's replace my history here with the heading. Okay, and then for challenges, rather than old challenges, we're going to say my old challenges because that will be our history. Okay, quick recap. Again, showing the active challenges, ones that we're a part of or that we could accept. Otherwise, we're showing a history of all of the old challenges and then all of the old challenges that we are a part of. Now we just need to change this to say my old challenges so this matches with what we're displaying. Okay, so that should now allow us to list all of the challenges, and we can't interact with them yet, but we can list them. Now what we're going to do is go to app.js, and we're just going to write the component that will list the challenges. So to do that, we can just put a div here. So list challenges like that. And we have to pass our signer equal to the signer. Okay, now I'm just going to wrap the create challenge in a div as well. We'll do some styling in a minute, but for now that should be okay. And obviously I imported list challenges here, just happened automatically when I started typing it, but you can see I have that imported here from my component. Okay, so now what we want to do is to rerun our React application. Not sure if this is currently running, but we will restart it. That'll take a second. Once it's running, I will be back and we'll make sure that this is working. All right, so I just load up the page and I can see that I'm getting an error already here for one of the components we have. So let's just make a very quick fix. We're going to go over to list challenges, and where we have this loading here, so for the button props, we just need to change this to say is loading. So I just made a mistake there. We're just going to set that to is loading. Okay, go back here and we should see now if we refresh that this fixes itself. And for some reason, this is loading when it really should have stopped loading, which tells me we're probably getting an error or we're not sending the request successfully. So let's have a look at our backend here. And let's see if the backend is receiving a request. Okay, it's not receiving a request. So let me just rerun this because it's possible that I made a mistake here. And there you go. We see now that if we refresh this, okay, we're getting an error. Let me have a look here and I will be right back. All right, so I was just doing a bit of debugging and I realized that the error we have here is that in our hex to string method, we're doing 2 UTF-8 bytes when I want 2 UTF-8 string. So we were actually converting a hexadecimal value to a hexadecimal array, which was causing an issue for us. So if we go here now and refresh, we should see that I was just doing some logging and we're getting challenges with an empty list. And now this update challenges is working. So if we go back to list challenges, I was just printing out this value. Before, what was happening is this hex to string was giving us the wrong value. So when we tried to parse it with JSON, we were getting an error. Now though, it is working. So if we go back here, we can have a look at our backend and we'll see that it's generating reports every time we press this button. So we're sending a request and pretty instantly generating the report. Now what we'll do is we'll make a new challenge and we'll actually see if we get the updated challenge here. So I might need to change accounts, but we can try this, confirm. We'll see if this goes to our backend and then we can update our challenges. All right, so our input has been added. We're going to update challenges here. And we got an issue here. It says challenge object has no attribute commitment. Did you mean commitments? Okay, so we probably just made an error here. Challenge.commitment.get in line 150. So let's go fix that in our main.py. Okay, main.py, and I have commitment when that needs to be commitments. Silly error, but hopefully now if we rerun our backend, so let's go here and rerun it. And we go back to our front end, we can now refresh and we can send another request. So let's go create challenge and let's go ahead and make one here. Okay, we should see that pop up in the back end. Let's give this 1 second. Okay, any minute now we'll see that it will make a new challenge for us. Okay, so adding notice, challenge with ID was created. And now let's go to update challenges. And again, we got an issue. It says challenge object has no attribute winner. Okay, we probably called it winner address. Again, we can go and fix that. So we're trying to access a winner. If we go to look at our challenge, so let's go to challenges.py. we have winner address. Okay, so what do we call it here? Winner address, winner address. Okay, so let's go back and change this to winner address, of course. And we're going to have to test it again. Okay, so rerun. And let's refresh. And let's make another challenge. Okay, go ahead and run. Same thing. Wait for our backend to pick this up. And then maybe, third time's the charm, we'll be able to actually receive this new challenge. Okay, notice created. Let's click the button. And challenge is popping up. Now, for some reason, it's not really displaying any data for us. As challenge ID, the creator is here, the opponent is null, winner is null, opponent committed false, opponent move, and creator move. It's not showing us the data that we want to see. Let's go have a look at our console and see if we're getting any error. And it says we should have a unique key prop. Okay, we can fix that, but it should still be showing some stuff for us. So let's go and debug this and figure out what the issue is. All right, so silly mistake here, but I have my challenge equal to user participated when it should really be equal to challenge. Okay, so if we go back now, it should just pop up and it says challenge number 0, your move is hidden. Okay, so that's what we were looking for. Now we could display some text that says we're waiting for an opponent or something, but for now, that is what we were looking for. Again, we're gonna do the styling after, but this is working. It's now displaying this challenge. Now, we want a way to be able to accept these challenges, so that's what we'll work on next. And once we accept them, we'll be able to actually display some more information about the challenge. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go into challenges, and we're going to start popping up the button that allows us to actually accept the challenge. So how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, we need to know if we should be displaying it or not. So we're going to go inside of this div, and we're going to write a condition where we say, okay, well, if we passed show accept, that means this is a challenge that's active that we can accept. So we'll say show accept, and then we're going to put an empty JSX component. And inside of here, we're going to put a select field that will allow the user to actually select what option it is that they want when they kind of accept the challenge, and we'll challenge this person. So we're going to say focus border color is equal to yellow. We're going to say the size is medium. We're going to say the value is equal to choice. And we're going to say on change, this is equal to a function. This function takes in the event. Okay, so we'll say set choice and then event.target.value, just like we had in the other input component. Okay, so this is our select field. Inside of the select field, we need our options. So we'll say option, if we could type this correctly, we're going to say value is equal to 1. Option 1 is rock. Then we will copy this and have value 2 and value 3. And this will be paper. And this will be scissors, like so. Okay, those are our 3 options. We then need the button. For the button, we'll have the onClick. The onClick will be equal to a function that we'll write in 1 second. And we'll have the color scheme equal to green. And then we will say accept challenge. Okay, so now we need a function that we're going to call when we press this button. However, we can test that the button is appearing correctly by going here, refreshing, and changing our account to someone who did not create this. So we're going to go to account 6 and connect this guy and then refresh. And now you can see it says the opponent is this, the opponent moves is hidden, and it's showing us that we can accept the challenge. Again, we'll fix the styling later on. Don't worry about that. Now we will fix this key prop, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go here to our div. We're just going to say key is equal to challenge.challenge ID, just so that we don't get that error from React. Okay, so now we need the function that we're going to call when we click the button. So let's go ahead and make that function. We're going to say const accept challenge is equal to a function. This will be an async function, and this function will take in the challenge ID that we want to accept. And in fact, we can just call this ID. Now what we need to do to accept a challenge is we need to generate our commitment string, and we then need to send that to the backend. So we're going to say const commitment is equal to await generate commitment. We're going to generate the commitment with whatever our choice is and with our signer. We're then going to say await send input, and for our input, we're going to say JSON.stringify, and we're going to write what it is that we need to pass. So we're going to say the method is accept underscore challenge, because that's what we want to do. We're going to say the commitment is equal to the commitment, and the challenge ID is the ID. Then, now that we have that, let's format, and we're also going to pass our signer, because we need that to send the transaction, and toast for the pop-ups. Okay, so that's all we need for accepting the challenge. That will simply accept it for us. Let's go here, and for our onClick, we will just call the function, which is accept challenge, and we'll pass the challenge.challenge ID, so we know which one it is that we're accepting. So now this should actually allow us to become the opponent of that challenge. We'll see though, because always there are errors. Let's refresh. Okay, we should be able to accept the challenge. So let's pop open our backend. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any errors, so that's good. And we're gonna go accept challenge. Okay, pops up MetaMask. Go ahead and click on confirm, and we'll wait for that notice to appear on the backend. And then we can refresh our challenges and we can see if we accept it. Okay, so we got a notice here that says received advanced request data, method accept challenge. It says adding notice challenge with ID 0 was accepted by this address. Okay, that's a good sign. Let's update the challenges, and there we go. We now have the opponent move, and our move. So that's great. Now if we go back to our different account, so let's switch this up and go to account 7 and refresh. We see now that the opponent is the other person and both the moves are appearing. So now we need to be able to reveal our answer. All right, so now we need to write some logic that tells us whether or not we should show the button that says reveal your answer. Because once we've accepted the challenge, now both players have made their commitments, and now we need to reveal. And once both players reveal, then we know who won. So we're going to write some logic in a function called show reveal. Okay, now this is going to take in the challenge, and it's simply going to make sure that both players have already made their commitments. And if they have, it will show the reveal button. So what we're going to do here is say if challenge.opponent and the challenge.opponent underscore move does not equal 0, then return false. Now, let me explain this because this function is actually a bit complicated. What we need to do in here is we need to only show the reveal button if both players have made a move, but if we have not yet revealed our move. So that's why you're going to see a little bit of logic here that might not make sense at first. It's because we need to check two things. First of all, we need to make sure that both players have made a commitment. We then need to make sure that ourselves have not already revealed, because we don't want to display the button if we already revealed, because that's going to be confusing, right? We only want to show the button if we need to still reveal. So the first check is, all right, if this is equal to the address, which is what I meant to add here. So if the opponent is equal to us and the opponent move is not equal to 0. Now, if the opponent move is not equal to 0, what that means is that either we haven't made a move, so we haven't committed, or we have already revealed our move, because if the move is 1, 2, or 3, that means we've revealed what it is because it's now displayed on the blockchain. So that's what we're checking here. Now, we do the exact same thing. So if challenge.creator is equal to address and the challenge.creator move does not equal 0, then return false. So same thing here, but now we're just checking if we're the creator, because we could be the opponent or we could be the creator. We don't know. Then, once we've handled those cases, we're going to return the following. We're going to say return challenge.opponent move does not equal undefined, and the challenge.creator move does not equal undefined, and the challenge does not have a winner. So as a quick fix, we can actually make these the double equal to sign. That should work. We might have to fix this, but I think this is fine for right now. And what we're checking in this condition is, okay, has the opponent made a move? So if they have made a move and we have made a move and there's not a winner, if there's a winner, that means the challenge is over, then we can go ahead and display the reveal button. Now, when we check is not equal to undefined, well, we're saying, okay, have you submitted a commitment? Or alternatively, have you already revealed your move? If both the opponent and the creator have done that and we don't have a winner, we can go ahead and display the reveal button. So now we need to use that function. So we're going to go and write some logic here inside of this. So after your move, we're going to have show reveal. We're going to pass in the challenge, and we're going to say question mark, and we're going to put a button here. This button will say reveal move. we will say that the color scheme of this button, so color scheme is equal to green. And then we'll say on click, and we're going to call a reveal function, which we'll write in a second. And then otherwise, we're just going to put some text. So we'll put a p tag here, and we'll say waiting, ... Okay, because we're waiting on something to occur before we show this button. So if we go here, it shows the reveal button, which is what we want, because at this point, the challenge has been created and both players have accepted it. Now let's just make sure it works from the other side. So if we switch over to account 6 and then refresh, you can see it is working here as well. Okay, so now we need to write the actual logic for revealing the move. Now we've been through this a few times, but I will explain it again. So let's write a function. This will actually be the last bit of code we need to write. We're going to say reveal move. Okay. Now this is going to be an async function. And the first thing we need to do to reveal move is we need to get what the move is, which is stored in local storage, and we need to get our secret key because we need to submit those to the blockchain. So we're going to say const nonce is equal to local storage dot get item, and then this is going to be the nonce key plus the address dot, and I don't think we need to convert it to lowercase because I think we already did when we passed the address. So I think it's actually fine if we just say plus address. That's fine. So that should get us our nonce key. We're then going to say const move is equal to local storage dot get item, and this is going to be the move key. We'll put that inside of brackets plus address. Okay. We then are going to say await send input, and this is going to be JSON dot stringify. And we're going to say our method is that we'd like to reveal the move. And then to reveal the move, we need to submit both the move and the nonce. Okay, so move and nonce. And then what we also need to pass here is the signer and the toast. Let me just format that. And I think we are good to go. Okay, so that should actually be it for revealing the move. I did not pass the toast, so let me fix that. And I think we are good to just call this function. So let's now go here to the on click and just call reveal move. And let's go back and let's test this out. So fingers crossed, we are good to go. We're just going to refresh for good measures, and we're going to reveal. Now it's going to pop up MetaMask here. Okay, let's go ahead and confirm. Now we'll check our backend here and we'll see if we get any notices and if it tells us if we revealed successfully. Okay, so it says adding notice, this address revealed their move of rock. Okay, very good. Now if we refresh, you can see it's displaying our move as a rock, and we are currently waiting on the opponent. Now at this point, again, the opponent cannot cheat because of how we've set this up. So if we go to account 7 and we refresh here, it says the opponent move is rock, your move is hidden, you can reveal. So let's go ahead and reveal and confirm. Okay, we're going to give this a second, and we need to have the notice come in here. So let's wait for the notice. Okay, receiving notice, challenge ended in a draw. So let's update the challenges, and it says rock. Okay, now it says waiting. We actually wanted this to go into the old challenges. So if I refresh this here, yeah, it's not going into old challenges yet. I guess that's actually because there is no winner. So we're going to have to change a bit of logic to display this correctly, because when there's no winner, yeah, it's not handling. So we had a draw, and it wasn't handling the draw. So let's go and just fix that logic. This will be pretty quick. All right, so I just wrote some new logic, and this changes a few things because of how we handle a draw. Anyways, what I was having an issue with is that, again, if both players didn't win, we don't have a winner marked in the field, so we don't know if the challenge is done or not. So the way we have to determine if the challenge is done based on how I've coded this is we have to check, okay, is there a winner, or have both the opponent and the creator revealed their move? So that's kind of what we're checking here. Challenge.opponent move and challenge.creator move does not equal undefined. Notice I have this with 1 does not equal. Now what that means is that if this is 0, so if their move is hidden, then that will not count for this condition. Okay, so if their move are hidden, then it won't go into the history. So what I've done is said const is the challenge done equal to this. I've then replaced where I had challenge.winner with challenge done. So I've said if the challenge is done and the user participated, then it's their history. Otherwise, if the user participated, okay. And then same thing here, if the challenge is done, push it into old challenges. Now, the only thing we haven't kind of handled is displaying draw or not draw, and also that kind of waiting that you saw. So if we go back here and we refresh, It says my history, challenge 0. This is the opponent. This is the opponent move and our move. And then it says waiting. We don't want to display waiting if the challenge is done. So what we should display instead is like winner is equal to draw or something, or like the challenge ended in a draw. So we can write some logic for that as well. If we go to challenges, okay, so we have show reveal, challenge, reveal move, waiting. Now again, we only want to display waiting if the challenge is not done. So we can do a similar thing to what we did before, and we can write a variable here. It says const challenge done. Okay, and actually we can do this down here, and we can utilize our data variable. So we can say const challenge done is equal to data dot your move does not equal undefined, and the data dot opponent move does not equal undefined. If that's the case, the challenge is complete. So we'll go here to where it says waiting, and we'll simply put a condition here. So we'll say if that's the case, then we'll check the following condition. The condition is going to be challenge done, and so we'll say not challenge done, and then waiting, like that. And then we can do something where we say challenge done and not challenge dot winner, and we display some text ended in a draw. Let's format here, and that should actually wrap up our logic. So again, we added a variable that tells us if the challenge is complete, exact same thing we did before. Here we're now saying, okay, only display waiting if the challenge is not done. If the challenge is done and there wasn't a winner, it's a draw, so we'll say ended in a draw. So now it should say ended in a draw, and it does. That is working. Now to test this, let's do the same thing, but let's actually make a challenge that someone wins. So we have rock here, so let's make a new one. Okay, confirm. We can open up our backend to verify that this is working. We want to see a new challenge created here. Give this a second to appear. Okay, a challenge was created. Let's now go to our different accounts. Let's go account 6, refresh the page. Okay, and we've got two things here. Reveal move and accept challenge. So for reveal move, we're going to need to fix that, obviously, because we don't want to display reveal move yet. I think the way we can fix that is if we go to list challenges and we go to show reveal. So wherever I have that, so that's inside of challenges, sorry. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Let's get rid of the double equal sign, which I actually don't think I need. And if we fix that now, okay, perfect, it gets rid of that. So it says opponent, hidden, waiting. Okay, we had rock before. Let's do paper, and let's accept the challenge. Okay, let's go ahead and click confirm. All right, so we can give this a second on our back end. Okay, let's refresh. And now we have ended in a draw, which we did not want to display. Okay, so obviously a few things going wrong here, guys. Sorry, handling the draw was not something I thought of before, so I'm kind of coding this on the fly. Let me do a few fixes just to make sure that I'm not misleading you with all these changes, and I'll be right back. So a few slight changes here that have now fixed things. First of all, from list challenges, I simply removed the does not equal undefined from challenge done. So now challenge done is equal to challenge.winner or challenge.opponent move and challenge.creator move. So as long as those are a truthy value, so not 0 or not undefined, then the challenge is finished, which is originally what I wanted to have, but I kind of coded it incorrectly. So that's my bad. Then from challenge.js, I just got rid of the showing the draw and showing the waiting, just to simplify things. So all I did was just remove the code that was showing if there was a draw or showing if there was any waiting, just to make sure I didn't kind of overcomplicate stuff. So for now, you can see active challenges is correct. It's showing our active challenge, and then we have our challenge history. So let's now go ahead and try to reveal our move, and let's see if this works now when we actually have a winner. Okay, so this guy revealed his move. Let's go over to our backend, and it should show us popping up in a second. Okay, removed paper or revealed move of paper. Okay, so now we have our move paper, and the button goes away. And then if we switch over to account 7 and we refresh, okay, opponent move is paper, we can reveal our move. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, give this a second to run, and we are going to update the challenge. And there we go, we have our history. So we have the first move, and then we have this challenge, and it says the winner was the opponent. The opponent move was paper, our move was rock. So that's exactly what we were looking for, so that it shows either us or the opponent. And just to show you from the other side, if we go here to the opponent and we refresh the page, it says the winner was us, which is exactly what we are looking for. Okay, so that is it. And that is going to wrap up this tutorial. Now, I know there was a lot of mess at the very end there. I apologize, guys, but I'm just keeping it real with you. This stuff does happen. This is the life of a developer. And actually, that reminds me, we need to style this. So let's style this, and then we can wrap it up. But this is kind of the core logic, which we just finished. So let's do some basic styling. To do the styling, we have a few classes. We have the challenge class, right? So we're going to want to space those out a little bit. In create challenge, we have the challenge form. If we go to list challenge, we have the center class. So let's just go into index.js and we can do a fair bit of our styling inside of there. So first we'll say .challenge. Now what we'll do is we'll say this is a flexbox, so display flex. Say the flex direction is a column. We'll say align items flex start. We'll say padding is 10 pixels. We'll say the flex is 1 and the width is 33%. So let's fix that. And then we will align items actually in the center. So I don't know why I had flex start. We're going to put them in the center. Okay. Then we're going to have .challenges. We'll make sure we added that class after. But this is going to be width 100%. We are then going to have the display flex. We're going to have the flex direction equal to row. We're going to have align items in the center. We're going to have justify content in the center. And we're going to have margin top equal to 10 pixels. Okay. Lastly, we're going to have center. We're going to say align item center, display flex, and then the flex direction of column. And then the last few things here, .challenge form. We'll just add some padding here of 20 pixels, and we'll just text align center. And then we will have a button, and for all our buttons, we'll just add some margin to the top of 10 pixels. Now, don't worry about copying all of this out. I will have it available from the link in the description, so you can just grab it there. But this is kind of the main styling that we need. Now, let's see what that actually did to the page. Notice now that all of our challenges are going to be aligned in a 3x3 grid. The way I did that was by adding the width of 33% for all of our challenges and kind of aligning them in the center. We then have the create challenge form with a bit of padding. We have some padding between our headers, some padding with our buttons. Looks quite a bit better. Okay, so now that is going to wrap it up. That will be the end of this video. In the next videos, we'll handle deployment, talking more about architecture, etc. Hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. Again, the code is available from the link in the description, and I will see you in the next video.